Shut up, you're not good, sir. Will you get out?
I won't shut up.
I was in school, you're not in school.
Sir, you can't trust
Will
me.
you keep quiet? Get the food.
I'm not
You are the fool.
I'm not a fool,
You think
sir.
I shoot anybody like
Sir,
that?
I'm not
You
a
are the
fool.
fool.
I am not a fool, sir.
So my people, this is one of the best videos I've ever seen since this year. You know, I've been waiting for a time Nyesom Wike will cry. I'm waiting for a time that they will humble Nyesom Wike. Now, a lot of people, before I play the complete video, you know, a lot of people might be wondering what actually went on, or probably what happened, what was the genesis of this entire issue. Now, I'm going to break it down for you so you understand what's actually going on. Now, remember, this is not the first time, neither is it the second or the 10th time people are complaining that Nyesom Wike is illegally hijacking people's and grabbing people's land over there in Abuja. This was the same thing he did in Port Harcourt, and he has transferred that particular rascality to Abuja, thinking that people will actually keep quiet. You know, this land grabbing of his in FCT has, you know, kept on going on. You know, someone that just became the FCT minister just 2 years ago, he has started grabbing land, and some people are even saying that he's allocating those lands to some of his family members and all that. He went and mistakenly, in fact, he's trying to grab a land of a highly ranked military officer in the country. And, you know, he now understood that power pass power. This is what they thought, say power pass power. Power truly pass power. You know, the owner of this particular land is a vice admiral. And you know what it means for someone to actually attain that particular height in the military. And, you know, this man was actually developing his land. Let me just narrate what happened before I play the rest of the video. This man was actually, you know, developing his land. You know, laborers were on his land, actually, you know, working and all that. And he has his papers complete and every other thing. The same thing that, you know, Sanwo-Olu and Co are doing in Lagos State, the same thing Nyesom Wike is doing. You have your papers allocated fully by the government of the country. But because when he wants to grab your land, he will come and, you know, forcefully lie on you that you don't have the papers. So this man was actually, you know, developing his land because he bought the land and has the papers. And Nyesom Wike kept on sending threats that he should stop developing the land and, you know, revoke the ownership, this and that. But he doesn't know that not everybody will in their head correct, because some people are ready to fight against you toe to toe. You know, anyhow you want it, that they will give it to you. So Nyesom Wike first of all sent people to come and harass the laborers that are actually working for this particular vice admiral, this high-ranked military personnel there. They came and started harassing innocent laborers there. And, you know, the complaint got to the vice admiral that it was not the first time, neither is it the second time that Nyesom Wike is sending thugs the same way they are doing in Lagos State to come and, you know, harass laborers in that place. So they, out of anger, the vice admiral, he has power, had to, you know, order these boys to come and mount on that particular site to prevent these thugs that Nyesom Wike are always, or to prevent these thugs that Nyesom Wike is always sending from, you know, harassing these laborers. So this military personnel, and kudos to that particular military officer, he's a 3-star general. He's a 3-star general, and, you know, he told Nyesom Wike there that I'm not a fool. You should stop addressing me like that. In fact, in a well-organized country, Nyesom Wike would actually, you know, pay for what he did by insulting and probably threatening that particular, you know, military personnel. So the advice admiral told his boys, come and stay there, and let me see, and anybody you see trying to invade that particular land, prevent them from this, no matter whoever he is. So when Nyesom Wike now sent his boys or thugs to come and, you know, harass the laborers as usual, this military personnel, you know, chased them away. Now, yes, they went back and reported to Nyesom Wike. Nyesom Wike now drove to the vicinity with his men, thinking that he can come and intimidate this military personnel. You know, when they came, the military personnel said, we are working on orders that they are that particular vice admiral has actually given them orders for nobody to actually invade this particular land. And Nyesom Wike was thinking it was a joke. You could see how those military personnel blocked the entrance there, and they had to make Nyesom Wike, you know, go back. Let me not waste your time. Let me play the rest of the video so you could see what properly, you know, transpired and went down there. I love seeing Nyesom Wike cry. The way he's crying is giving me happiness, because he thinks he's so powerful that nobody can actually, you know, contain or probably, you know, contain him and all that. Let me play the videos, please.
And I begin to carry that.
Sir, everything was acquired legally.
Will you stop that? Will you stop that?
I'm an officer, I have integrity.
Shut up, you're not good, sir. Will you get out?
I won't shut up.
I was in school, you're not in school.
Sir, you can't trust me.
Will you keep quiet? Get the food.
I'm not a fool.
You can shoot anybody like that?
Sir, I'm not a fool. I am not a fool, sir.
And for the time I graduated, you are primary school.
I'm acting on order.
For which order? I just say you say whether you love me.
Sir, you can't come here from me. Officer, I'm not a fool.
You will kill everybody.
No, we are not killing anybody. We won't kill anybody. We are acting on orders.
Go and develop your right to see you. We are going to get out.
Director press.
Excuse me. You cannot tell me. You cannot tell me that. We cannot continue to have this impunity. Where is approval even to keep? You cannot continue this way. This country cannot continue along this line. How can that man at his level, even he has a problem, he cannot reach me and look, I'm sorry, see what I have. He will send soldiers to intimidate who? We are all from this country. And this is government. You cannot be higher than any government. You cannot be carrying guns to intimidate people to not to do their work. Let me tell you, if not going to do the same stuff, who spoke to me now? You could have killed everybody here. No problem. I'm not one of those that they can intimidate. I'm doing my job.
We are not intimidating anybody.
That's what you're doing.
The civilian, the engineer mobilized to site, and then the staff or workers of SCDA look at it.
No, listen now. That is the problem.
Them. And that was when the admiral gave the order.
He cannot give order against government.
Because the papers are complete and he said some
Are you the one? Listen, you don't the police one. Are you the one that will say, paper? What will show me that you are good? First of all, show me that government gave you this place. Show me that you have an approval to build what you are building. It's not to do with, I'm a vice admiral, I'm a lieutenant general. That is not it. We must work according to law. We must work according to law. So you? No, you don't tell like this. I'm going to tell it.
So, like I said, what just happened to Nyesom Wike is making me happy, because this is the same way he intimidates people, and this is the same way, he believes nobody can actually harm him, and he believes he can do anyhow he wants. That's why he will keep on intimidating people, insulting people anyhow he wants. And now, God bless this particular, military personnel. He stood his ground without, being disrespectful, but he understood that I know my position and I have been given an order. Nyesom Wike do not even understand how the military, works. A vice admiral gave him order. He must first of all take orders from his commander and not from Nyesom Wike. You are just a mere minister of FCT. So if he refuses to take an order from his commander, do you know the implications for him? So he's working under orders. That is why he kept on reiterating and saying that he's working under orders. So whatever thing Nyesom Wike is saying does not make sense to him. He only takes orders, and immediately the order has been given to him. It's just for him to go and execute it. That is why he's a military personnel. So a sensible person, if Nyesom Wike was sensible, what he could have done is to go and meet that the order. But because he has always been a very confrontational person who thinks he can use the Tibo-Zobo approach, he can use the coercive or probably the forceful approach to take over people's properties. Do you know how many people in Abuja are crying that Nyesom Wike forcefully took over their property? And it gives him happiness when he sees people cry. A lot of families and peoples have been displaced and their family lands have been taken, hijacked by this same rogue politician, Nyesom Wike. And again, he's reallocating those properties and those land to his friends and to his relatives over there in Abuja, or probably political relatives and co. So he thinks he can easily go scot-free with all forms of rascality. Kudos to this military personnel. But Tinubu should call him to order. In fact, for him to open his mouth to even call a commissioned military personnel, a 3-star general, a fool, it requires for him to be cautioned on a public space. This is the way Nyesom Wike has been talking like a drunkard, a man who has absolutely no respect for anyone. If it is a place where democracy or probably a functioning country, he will be sanctioned and probably stripped up of whatever position he has as the minister of FCT there, because the power intoxicates him a lot. Power intoxicates Nyesom Wike that he does not want to listen to you. He doesn't want to listen to anything anybody says. He only does what's in his mind, regardless of what the constitution says and all that. No sympathy, nothing. And now he has been given a test of his own medicine. He has been given a full dose of his own medicine. Let him actually understand how it feels. You can see when he stepped out and left that particular environment, saying that that the only reason that that the military could have killed all of them, if not the fact that for the fact that the CDS, the chief of defense, called him, that he could have scattered everything. Then all of them will actually be there or be dead and not that blah 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 blah. He thinks he is a superpower or probably Superman. He used force to intimidate people. I love how he was humbled. Like people have been complaining about him and his mentality and his everything. That he can't keep on treating Nigerians this way. He can't keep on talking anyhow and thinking he can forcefully grab land. You think this is Rivers State or Port Harcourt that you turn to your private property. This was the same man who turned Rivers State, a whole state, to his private property, made Bola Tinubu to declare a state to be under emergency, suspended an elected governor for over how many months just because of this same rogue man being Nyesom Wike. And he thinks he can replicate the same nonsense that he's doing in Rivers State, in Abuja, the federal capital territory of the country. You think you own it the same way you want to be taking over the properties and everything that has to be that has to do with Rivers State. You want to do it in Abuja. You want to take over the properties. You want to be the grand commander of every property in Lagos, in ABJ, Abuja. The same thing you did in Port Harcourt or Rivers State. But thank God he met his match. He cannot scare everyone. This is a vice admiral, and most of all this land have even been long acquired before this same man became the FCT minister. So what he wants to do is grab lands and reallocate it to those he believes are his maybe political allies or relatives and all that. That is the goal of Nyesom Wike there, revoking land ownership and all that were legally acquired, just to make sure that he reallocates it to other people. But today, Kama has caught up with him. Kudos to the Nigerian military. For this reason, a lot of people are showering blessings and praises upon that particular military personnel that humble Nyesom Wike. Kudos to him for standing his ground and not being allowed to be intimidated by this rogue politician known as Nyesom Wike. Well, that's all we have for you guys. Drop your comments and tell me what you think about this brouhaha that happened between Nyesom Wike and this military personnel in Abuja. See you guys later. And also, do you think Bola Tinubu should call Nyesom Wike to order because his excesses are becoming too much these days? He thinks he is the most powerful person. I don't just get it. He's just an appointee of this government, but the kind of power he exerts, or the kind of power he exerts, it's too much. So do you think Bola Tinubu should call him to order so that he will better respect himself, other than bringing shame and embarrassment? Imagine confronting a military officer, calling him a fool, trying to gaslight him, and if the military officer reacted in a harsh way, and people will start blaming him. Meanwhile, this particular guy was actually insulted and probably pushed to the wall. But like I told you, like I praised him earlier, being the military officer, he actually applied restraint from actually attacking or probably harming Nyesom Wike in any way. But Nyesom Wike kept on pushing him with his words and all that. So tell me if you think Bola Tinubu should, as a matter of fact, lay off this Nyesom Wike, lay him off entirely from the becoming the FCT minister, because he's becoming a nuisance. He's becoming a political nuisance and causing a lot of trouble in this particular country. So do drop your comments with respect to these particular issues.